All right, all right, all right, all right. It's go time. Peace and love. What up, though? What it do? What's popping? What's cracking? What's happening in time 9, time 10, time 9, time 10 again. And we about to do it. Do it, do it, do it with the facts only. With the official, not that hearsay. We not over here regurgitating hearsay. We bringing the facts and only the facts, as adults should do. We should not be around here behaving like elementary students and those in kindergartens. Peace and love, God. We in this piece. Forever and ever and ever. Because we don't die, we multiply. That's what we need when it comes to the actual facts. We don't need more people, out here spreading and following false narratives that don't benefit us as a people. Like I've been on this Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion thing because again, this contributes to the gender wars that we can't afford to be having right now as melanated men and women, and always as melanated men, women, and children. We need one another. We need to be supporting one another, not dragging, you know what I'm saying? But again, those who are out here behaving like animals and like predators, they need to be accountable for they bullshit. Let's just say what it is. Let's just say what it is. Let's deal with the facts, right? Let's deal with the statistics and, stop being ass backwards. Being ass backwards, you moonwalking away from the goal, right? And we have goals. We have our own agendas, and those agendas should not be, us aiming at the people who are responsible, who are accountable, right? Who not telling you 50,000 lies in order to save their own ass because they don't care about you. And, I'm just the opposite of that. I care about the people, right? So again, this is why, and I don't, this is not something that I should have to be on every time we go live. And we're not going to be on this every time we go live. Like I got a lineup of very talented scholars who ready to come through and, get the people some more information, right? So, rock with us. I'm setting everything up. I can be late, but I'm still always on time with some new music. Yeah, StreamYard not letting me download this. They're saying the file is too loud, so too large. That's why it's playing in the background. I've been giving y'all nothing but the soul music for months now. You know what I'm saying? So we purchased some new music, mainly for me to, drop some lyrics on y'all. Yeah, I'm talking about some battle bars because we need that too. I know they've been missing me. And some don't miss me. Some don't want me, doing what we do. Right? But ask me, do I care? The answer to that question would be no. No, in every language you can think of. The answer is no. I do not care. Oh my God, I just messed something up that I didn't need to mess up. So let's go back. I gotta go back. Damn, how did I end up doing that? That's whack. That's not what I was trying to do. Yeah, we in this piece though. We in this piece like hair grease. Oh no, that ain't what we was trying to do either. This is just crazy. Hold on. Let's see. Hold on, y'all. I think I'm doing the right thing now. I need some chapstick too, 'cause my lips dried in the mud. I already got a speech impediment. I never had the opportunity to ask a physician, does being tickled a lot when you little make you stutter, or is a cause for you gaining the speech impediment? Even when I ain't pronouncing the word properly, you know what I'm trying to say, right? It being that it's so many people, unfortunately, so many of my own brothers and sisters who are excited to promote and support agendas that do not benefit us as a people, they're gonna have to take this ass whooping that I'm giving out. I ain't handing out turkey feathers, I'm handing out eagle feathers. That's what we doing. So let me know, how the audio was sounding like. Is it any buzzing in the mic? Does the music in the background sound distorted? I'm gonna change it anyway. We're gonna have to go back to the soul music based on the fact that, again, StreamYard will not allow me to download this file. They're saying it's too large, so I'm gonna have to figure something out, because I spent the grip, and to do it again and again and again and again the same way. I still got this same rack on the table for those that are out there promoting satire, neo-Nazi skinhead, racist satire at that, and for you brothers and sisters that's out here promoting these gender wars, because that's what it turns into, right? Now, over and understand that I'm not saying that every time one of us is convicted by a jury that's not our peers, or even by way of a bench trial. You know what a bench trial is? A bench trial is what I should have took. You know what I'm saying? When I was in a similar situation where I had to pop off, right? And the popping off part is the only similarity in between me and a Daystar Peterson, right? Right? Because in my situation, I was being threatened. And I'm pretty sure that Kelsey and Megan didn't rush up on him. You know what I'm saying? And try to whoop on him or whatnot. So again, we're going to deal with the facts. And we're going to start off this evening, as you can see the title, Tory/Drake versus Megan/Kendrick Lamar. Again, that's Tory Lanez/Drake, the Canadians, versus Megan Pete and Kendrick Lamar, right? I've already made it obvious and made it known that I'm team Megan Thee Stallion and Kendrick Lamar. And it's not just because, we right here on this island we call Turtle Island, or what y'all may call the United States of America, right? Because when you say Canada is a part of North America. Canada is a part of America and the Americas, North, South, and Central, as well as the adjoining islands, right? If you are an A student when it comes to your geography, like myself, then I'm spitting nothing but facts. Canada is not, a part of another continent, although it is its own separate country. Although the orange guy would like to try to take over, you know what I'm saying, Canada, and make it a part of what they call the United States of America, because the same way, we don't make reference to ourselves when we're dealing with local, state, and federal government, as well as their subsidiaries and their armed militia. We don't allow them to refer to us as Black people. But again, when I'm kicking it with my brothers and sisters, I don't have a problem with you utilizing the term Black. You know why? Because the vast majority of us are not bilingual and trilingual and multilingual. We are speaking English. You know what I'm saying? Now, if we were all, only speaking Old English, Old High German, Low German, Middle German, French. Y'all know I speak a lot of French. I do a lot of French, especially in the last video. Like I just went bananas. So, and donuts. I went donuts. So you already know it's going to be a limited amount of monetization on that particular video, if at all, right? And I accept that. We all know I give zero. You know what? It just is what it is. Only, I'm not one of these people who is going to restrict myself, mask what it really is in order for what? A couple dollars? Like I would literally have to have millions and even at that point, I'm still not going to censor myself. That's not what we do around here, right? I'm not a child. I'm going to say what I want to say when I want to say it, how it needs to be said, as long as it is factual or it supports the truth, right? And again, these arguments in between, these things that happen between a man and two women, right? That outside of, the women being harmed or put in harm's way ain't our business. Like I've said multiple times, whether or not there was a intimate relationship in between the three ain't our business. But again, the fact that in the year of 2020, and I'm saying it again, I don't care who don't like it. Look here, if your comprehension skills aren't up to par enough for you to understand why I would put that statistical fact into play when we're speaking about Tory Lanez and Megan, you know what I'm saying? Like, again, 5 melanated women and girls were murdered every day in the year of 2020, mostly by guns. So if you're not astute enough to understand why I'm mentioning that fact when we having this conversation, then the first thing that you should do in most of these conversations in between me and mostly men from Islamic ideology state of mind, you know what I'm saying? You niggas need to grow up. I'm just gonna say what it is. You really need to grow up, right? Because you continuously use these straw man arguments and continuously move the goalposts when I'm going straight down the line using the official information that's on record that was utilized to convict Tory Lanez. And y'all, 10 years was too much, even if he did. The nigga was facing 23 years, so he got a 13-year break. Right? This is when you know the fact. Did you know that he was facing 23 years and he only got 10? Do you not know that he will be paroled before 10 years unless he does some more dumb shit while he's incarcerated? Which wouldn't be nobody fault but his. See, we keep trying to put the blame somewhere else. You keep trying to blame a woman who's already traumatized. But y'all don't mind traumatizing her some more, right? Like I'm tripping. I don't know if it's on her new album or whatnot, but I heard her say something about now she asexual. Like y'all done literally pushed this girl into, not really want no penis or something. I don't really, I can't define that word because that's something that, I have no comprehension of, right? But again, and again and again, certain things I mentioned to y'all, like the fact that 1 out of every 6 of our baby boys under the age of 18 have been sexually violated before the age of 18, and 1 out of every 4 of our melanated girls have been violated in that same fashion before the age of 18. So look here, like again, a lot of y'all, I don't know y'all personally, right? So in order to substitute the fact that I don't know you personally, what I tend to do is mention various celebrities who you may be familiar with, right? I'm gonna turn this track off and put a track on that's gonna play properly, right? Because again, I don't know how it sounds. It can't sound too bad because I haven't, heard no complaints in the comment section, right? But we gonna deal with some music that we gonna have to go back to the soul music. Or we can go to my 1997. Let's do some 1997. How about that? Let me turn it down a little bit first. It's about right there. We gonna go to 1997. Little sample of myself and myself. Again, we have to look at everything from a realistic and a logical point of view. Where I'm at, put me on here too. Let me say what up though to y'all right quick. Already knowing what it is. Big Daddy Kane, when he used to throw up the peace signs at the concerts, he used to be like, put them together. Don't do this, do this. Put the peace sign together. Throw your peace sign up. You know what I'm saying? We coming from the real hip hop. And by way of coming from the real hip hop, from whether we talking about a Brother Jay from the X-Clan, Peace to the God, or we talking about Rakim, the God of Eric B. and Rakim, you know, when we start talking about the real hip hop, we had influences, right? Some of us learned, some of you, well, let me see. I'm including myself in this. The first time I ever heard anything about a 5% nation was by way, or the nation of gods and earths, if you will, was by way of hip hop, right? Like, again, at the same time, when we talking about the music industry, this is a form of entertainment. Like, we didn't go out and, you know, when we saw the movies like Terminator or Scarface, we didn't go out with picket signs and, you know, try to stop them from, you know, Al Pacino and them from getting paid, right? We didn't try to ban them. And something I really loved, and I know I'm jumping all around, but we're going to get to the meat of the conversation momentarily. Something I really loved about the movie Sinners is the scene where they in the juke joint and they're going back, right? And showing our people all from all over, not just from here, but from all over, dancing like twerking ain't shit new, right? So why fuck y'all so sensitive? Why you so sensitive about seeing a titty? What you say, babe? The past, present, future. Thank you. That scene in the movie Sinners, if you haven't went to see it or saw it, I recommend that you do see this film, right? Again, you say who? I should play the Black Tube video, right? But go to the Black Tube. If you want to see the movie Sinners, right? Go to the Black Tube. Download the app, however you got to do it. And like I've been telling y'all for years now, but the Black Tube beats the hell out of the YouTube. I'm trying to told you that. And stop getting your panties in a bunch based off of the word black. It's called the Black Tube. It didn't say we the black people. It's called the Black Tube, right? So again, you can go there and see a whole lot of stuff that you're not going to see by way of YouTube because it's not restricted the way that YouTube is restricted. And let me shut this down too. Hold on, y'all. Right? You won't be censored there. You know what I'm saying? You can also be monetized on the Black Tube as well. So I see what. Definitely check it out. It's worth it, right? What's the name of Hammer cartoon, babe? Is it called Hammer? Hammer Time. Like, you can sit down and watch Hammer Time, the cartoon. Remember MC Hammer had a cartoon? You can sit down and watch that with the babies on the Black Tube. I thought you put Hammer Time with Kid and Play. You can watch the Kid and Play cartoon with the babies, right? I thought Hammer Time was on there. My bad, y'all. Scratch that. You know, see how easily I'm willing to be accountable for my mistakes. This is how everybody needs to be. I messed up. I said something that wasn't factual because I thought it was. But the moment I found out, you know what I'm saying, what the statement that I was making was not true, what did I do? This is what adults do. In most cases, right? In most cases. You know, in the past, you know, from the ages of, I'll say 20 to 24, you know, I tried to hold on to saying I didn't do something that I actually did in order to gain my freedom. The same way Tory Lanez is attempting to gain his freedom, but it's different. Like, he like over 30 years old. Like, dude, all of the evidence shows that you did that shit. Period. All of the evidence, all of the official evidence, and I'm so glad that the jury, you know what I'm saying, dealt with the available evidence You understand? But you know, it's that trauma bonding and the sympathy time. Like, dude that just got stabbed 14 times, right? And he's playing on y'all emotions. Why? While there are many people who say that, well, you're not dealing with the facts. You're going off of emotions. I'm a woman, right? I can admit to the fact that I'm emotional about various topics. I have no problem with that. But that doesn't lead way to me being biased based off of my fucking emotions. I'm looking at evidence. So while we looking at evidence, right? Let me stop the camera. And let's get back to why am I bringing up Drake and putting him next to Tory Lanez, outside of the fact that they're both from what some of the brothers call Canaan land, right? Or Canada. And why am I grouping Megan Thee Stallion and Kendrick Lamar together, other than the fact that they're from what many people would say the mainland or the United States of America, right? Which a lot of these titles, when you have a certain amount of knowledge, you know, and you deal with some of the things that I deal with, you understand that the various states were once upon a time their own sovereign nations. The same way we look at the continent of Africa and we see Uganda and we know that that's a separate country and nation within its own, although it sits inside of the continent known as Africa or Cuban or whatever you want to call it, right? What is Sierra Leone, right? All of these, Nigeria, Ghana, right? The Congo, right? Where the Congolese people are, you know what I'm saying? All of these are their own separate countries. So the confusion is over and I can over and understand the confusion that some of you guys have when we start talking about geography within Turtle Island or within what y'all call the United States of America. Because again, we're calling this entire thing a country, right? Again, it makes no fucking sense, right? Except when you know that the various nation states, which was, for example, I'll say California, Texas, Florida, Georgia. Again, the same way that Nigeria, Ghana, Sierra Leone, Uganda, that these are separate nations or nation states or countries, if you will, within the continent of Africa. Well, it was the same shit over here, right? It was the same thing over here. Tennessee was its own country, right? Michigan was its own country, right? But again, it's the takeover. It's the colonization that got us messed up from the gate. And a lot of these circumstances has affected us in our mental state as to where we have been lied to so much. A lot of times when the truth may be in your face, you may not even recognize it because you are more comfortable with the lie. The lie may resonate with you more than the fucking truth. And I'm telling you, as a full-grown adult, you got to get over that. If you are not willing to deal with the truth, then 9 times out of 10, you are even less willing to be accountable, for, the misguidance and the regurgitation of narratives that don't help us, right? So let me get back to it. I threw Kendrick Lamar next to Megan Thee Stallion because there were some shots thrown from Kendrick Lamar to Tory Lanez, or from Kendrick Lamar camp to Tory Lanez, right? Because Tory Lanez tried to be slick and say some little slick shit, and he wants to play as though what he said, he only said that in order to show his support for Drake. But see, Tory Lanez has the habit of, when something is a topic or subject is highlighted, and it's popular, he jumps on that shit. And I'm not saying nothing is wrong with that if he's not lying, right? Or if he is not misrepresenting the facts. But when you jump on a topic that's hot and you misrepresent the facts, then you are the problem, right? because you are creating controversy where it doesn't need to be. We are already a fragile people who have an overwhelmingly lack of wealth, a lack of community, a lack of self-love, and we got too much self-hate. It's too much. It should be no self-hate, but it's an abundance of self-hate within our communities, right? Based on the lies that are compiled on top of us from day one, from preschool, right? Sometimes within our own households, especially with the fact that a lot of parents are teaching their children about Santa Claus and bunny rabbits and laying eggs, and we know rabbits don't lay eggs. You know what I'm saying? Like, we've been lied to from day one, many of us. Now, I was lied to about the Easter bunny, but my mother never said it was no damn Santa Claus, period. You know what I'm saying? Never, ever. We knew where those toys came from because we were playing with them before the winter solstice. We already knew where the toys were hidden before the winter solstice. And many times our mother took us to the Toys R Us and let us fill the baskets up and got whatever the fuck we wanted. So we never believed in the Santa Claus in my household, right? Yeah, we had the tree, with the 5-pointed star, at the top or whatnot, and nobody was telling us what that represented, right? But again, that's not an excuse, especially today when, you have this information at your fingertips. So again, Tory like to try to play slick, right? He want to try to sneak diss somebody and then turn around and say, well, no, I wasn't dissing him. I was just supporting Drake. But if you go back into, and these things I'm just not learning, because again, I told y'all multiple times, if it was a Tory Lanez song playing right now, I would not know it was the Lame of the Tory. I would just not know, because I'm not familiar with the guy music like that. So I had to familiarize myself in order to even do this presentation, this broadcast, right? This build. So what I found out is, again, he the type of person that likes to throw rocks and hide their hands, because in the past, Tory himself was attempting to shit on Drake. But when Drake gets into this beef with Kendrick and it was hot, he want to jump into it. You see what I'm saying? And big himself up and put himself in the middle of it. Well, hold on. How are you talking about you here to help Drake and represent Drake because y'all both from Canada, but in the past you was shitting on Drake? This not the real hip hop, y'all. This is just not. I'm just saying what it is. I mean, like it, don't like it, I don't give a fuck. It just is what it is. And again, if you can't take the French, like I'm from Dey-Twah, I speak mad French. Like if the French is bothering you, then you don't have to be here. I'm just gonna say what it is. But if you can deal with the French, like for real, if you can deal with the type of actual violence that takes place every minute after minute within our communities, you shouldn't have no big issue with the amount of French words that I use during these broadcasts. But can you turn that off? The heat. Yeah, it's hot up in this piece. It shouldn't be hot like that. So now this takes me back to the Super Bowl performance by way of Kendrick Lamar. Right? After the performance, there were a certain amount of people from the so-called conscious community who began to drag Kendrick Lamar. Making statements such as, well, he's being used and that was a propaganda tool and la 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 la, and we gonna bypass the fact that it was nothing but melanated people rocking with Kendrick Lamar doing that performance. I even heard some so-called conscious people mention the fact that, well, what about the Europeans in the audience? Like, they don't know any of those songs. What about, who gives a fuck about them? Year after year after year and decade after decade, you know what I'm saying? We've had to listen to name me some people. Who? Metallica, you know what I'm saying? Bruce Springsteen, or whoever they had performing before they began to bring the talented melanated artists on to the forefront and let them perform at the Super Bowl halftime. Ain't that what you call it? You see, You see how, like, come on, y'all. I'm not really, I'm not gonna let you get away with nothing because I don't let people slide. Sorry. You can, maybe patronize somebody else platform who lets shit slide. I don't let shit slide. And again, it kind of depends on what it is as to whether or not I let it slide. But for the most part, that hasn't worked for me. Just letting shit slide. Whatever. Just let that. No. We have to address things that are being publicized. This is our mass media right here. This is our mainstream mass media right here. It seems not to be Fox and CNN and NBC, even though I'm not gonna front. In the morning, when I get up and I'm doing my hygiene rituals or whatnot, I put the phone on and I let the NBC nightly news play. But now that the brother, what's his name, Les something, he officially retired. You know what I'm saying? So I don't even know if I'll be listening to that in the morning or whatnot. But that's neither here nor there. I like to be informed, and there are times where I go through my little spells as to where I don't listen to any of the national news at all. And then sometimes on a daily basis, I'll listen to the news, right? I like reading a newspaper. A lot of people say, well, that's old school because most people don't read newspaper. I don't care what most people do. Most people suck butt. You see what I'm saying? I don't suck butt. So, just because most people say this or do this or do that, that has nothing to do with me. I like to read the newspaper. I like to still read magazines, right? I read the ingredients of things before I ingest them into my body. Like most people don't, and that's their preference and that's their choice. I'm not trying to influence you one way or another. The goal here again is to get rid of the false narratives, to put an end to the gender wars, things like passport boys and the women who hate men and now they're asexual and all of this other shit. Again, all of these elements, if they continue to hit this growth spurt, it means that we as a people, the majority of us as a people, will be going against the grain of nature, which means that, again, we will cease to exist. If we have right now, let's just say this, right now, what we have is a growing number of our women and children who are being influenced by way of the elemental TPTFU group, right? And that is something that is totally against nature. It is, look, this is a fact. It does not mean that I am a hater of people who have a sexual preference that is contrary to my own, right? It doesn't mean that I hate those people. But again, who you are intimate with is your personal business. I should not even know. You know what I'm saying? That's your personal fucking business. That has nothing to do with standing on. You standing on business because you want everybody to know that, you do like this and you do like this. Like that, that's your business. That's your business. But again, being a melanated man, woman, or child, that is something that's, automatic. When I see you, we already know what it is versus your sexual preference, right? That is something that's not automatically known unless you express it, or if you out here with an Adam's apple, right? And you wearing apple bottoms. Which still, that maybe you think you like Prince, you like controversy or something. I don't know. Shit. But again, that's your personal preference. That whether or not, you are a male and you are attracted to males, I wouldn't know that unless you told me. If you are a female and you are attracted to females, I wouldn't know that unless you told me. But again, as a melanated man, woman, or child, all I have to do is look at you. Even if you looked at me and was like, well, and I didn't say anything, because the minute I open my mouth, you already know what it is, right? But you could look at me and, maybe, let me see. We really don't, so you can ask. I suggest you don't do that, though. But again, it's happened. It's happening again. Both of my parents are melanated. Both of my parents were darker in complexion than I am, right? And all four of my grandparents was melanated, and all eight of my great grandparents was melanated, and so on and so forth. I found one, who they call mulatto or Indian or whatnot, and my great grandmother on my paternal side. Outside of that, I would, like there is no pale people in my bloodline. So me having this complexion is not a reflection of that, right? I'm just letting it be known, because I've been me for a very long time, and this predominantly has been like the camel jockeys who would be under the assumption that I was something other than what I am, right? It's happened in New York a bunch of times where the Dominicans and the Puerto Ricans or whatnot will come up to me and start habla Espanol and mommy, what you doing with he, and all of this and all of that, until I open my mouth, right? Open my mouth, and then it's okay. Oh, you black. You know what I'm saying? And then my shirt is black. You see what I'm saying? But okay. So again, this is a pattern of the guy Daystar Peterson jumping on things, while they're hot, to try and implement himself into it. And in this particular situation, he's jumping on something, or his attorneys and his father and his supporters are jumping on the fact that he got stabbed up. So they trauma bonding with him, which is a big mistake, because this is the mistake that Megan Thee Stallion made. She trauma bonded with him, and look where it has her now. It has hundreds of thousands of people in her panty business, right? She lied about her having intercourse with him. Okay, so again, let's deal with what was said during the trial. What got him convicted during the trial? All of these things that people are piecing together right now, trying to say is new evidence. These are things that were presented at the trial 3 years ago. These are things that was available to everybody 5 years ago. Just because you didn't, it's not a matter of you wasn't privy to it, because again, this case is not classified. All of this information is available, and me personally, I'm tired of talking about it. I'll be honest, but I'm more tired of, again, the fake ass gender wars that are promoted behind this. I literally have over 100 comments, or close to 100. I actually started deleting shit when niggas started coming on the post with, again, these straw man arguments, right? I'm telling you, hey, 1,871 melanated women and girls were murdered in the year 2020, the same year that Tory shot Megan, and most of these women and girls were, what y'all say, unalive by way of gunplay, right? And you want to talk to me about, okay, what did the guy say? He said some of the dumbest shit. He started actually putting words in my mouth. The Tory Lanez case don't have anything to do with women and children being, because I've mentioned this, but I didn't mention it in this particular post. But I mentioned the fact that our melanated women and children are the most human trafficked beings on the earth. These are the bigger issues that we need to be discussing to come up with some type of remedy, some type of recourse, some type of solution. You know what I'm saying? For that issue, as opposed to us arguing back and forth about whether or not Tory shot Megan, or whether or not her friend, who allegedly was screwing him too, or was supposed to have been screwing him, right? Whether or not she shot Megan, which would make no sense. Listen, again, when I say let's use some common sense, let's just say that Tory Lanez didn't shoot her. Let's just play devil's advocate for a minute, right? The way most of you are already doing anyway. Let's say he didn't shoot her, but he was found guilty and convicted, and he's serving a prison sentence, right? Do you know how many people will be responsible for paying restitution to him, and how many entities he could sue? He could sue the state of California, the district attorney's office, Megan Thee Stallion, what I said, a bunch of entities, right? He could literally come out on top. But do you think that all of these entities would risk a lawsuit from him because they want to convict him for Roc Nation? Like, again, even if Tory had become a client being represented by way of Roc Nation, he would not be the biggest client that they had in no type of way, shape, or form. Like, this disorder, I don't even know what to call a disorder. It's not just a matter of cognitive dissonance, as you all would like to say, but it's a bigger matter. It seems to be, as a entertainer, the more financially big, the more zeros you get, the more your own people fucking hate and envy you and become jealous of you and all of this kind of shit. Because I recall when a lot of y'all love Jay-Z, right? But now that, he has this $1 billion status and he's not affiliated with various people with fucked up energy, and that's his choice. If he don't want to rock with Dame Dash or whoever else that's so what? So what? That's his choice. Period. I don't, me personally, as an adult, I don't feel like I have the right to say that, well, he's this demon because he don't rock with Jay-Z. I mean, he don't rock with Kanye West or whatnot. He don't rock with, so the fuck what? That's his choice. These are all adult men who at one point in time were cool with one another, right? And some point in time, something happened, right? That for the most part, most of us aren't privy to. We don't have the particular information to say, well, this is the reason why this individual don't rock with that. Like, this is all fucking hearsay. And as a hip-hop artist who was a little bit in the mix of some things, during my time, what I found is that the people inside of the industry, from the top to the bottom, spread more gossip and lies about the people inside of the music industry than the average person on the street. I learned this. By listening and watching, right? And another thing I learned during my time within the music industry is, me as a so-called small fry, I can go to people who have known me for years and tell them, and I'll give you a real example. It's not even an example. These are actual facts, right? There was a guy who was at the time like an A&R for MCA Records, and prior to that he had a higher title, but due to him being one of these gossiping type cats, he kind of got, demoted, so to speak, right? I found out that, we'll just say what it is. He was a homosexual, right? And this came out of his mouth into not just my ears, but some of the ears of my peers, right? So as he was floating around Detroit, and this is before the white boy Eminem got signed, he was floating around looking at different talent and scooping people up and taking them to various music seminars in other states and other cities, right? So a particular group of, let's go back a little bit. I told my own homegirls about this guy's sexual preference, right? Which again, it wouldn't have been my business, but he is the one who blurted it out while we were at Kinko's making flyers for a music seminar that was here in Detroit called the Mecca Music Festival or whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So with him saying it, I had no need to repeat it, because I don't care, if you like booty or you want stuff in your butt, like, that's not my business. So I had no need to repeat it until my homegirls came to me and was talking about the guy, right? In the way of him assisting or aiding us, right? Or aiding them in their particular ventures. So I told him, I'm like, oh boy, he, be careful with him. He like to gossip a lot and he's a homosexual, right? And they downplay what I said. I don't forget shit. Even if one of my homegirls is watching, peace, love you, sis. Ain't no disrespect. When I'm telling the truth, let's just deal with the fact that I'm telling the truth, right? So there's a group of guys here from Detroit the guy who works from MCA, he was going to take them to California to this particular music seminar or whatnot with him, right? So I'm like, y'all need to let y'all mans and them know that, be careful with old boy, because, he, as Fred Sanford would say or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? So he may attempt to take advantage of them, right? But again, my homegirls did not take my word for it, right? I'm the small fry, according to, you know what I'm saying? Those who are a little bit higher up on the, echelon than me at the time, right? So about a little bit of time goes by. When I say a little bit of time, I mean a matter of a few days, right? The young men find out on their own that this guy is a homosexual. I hate to keep using that word, but if it's a fact, it's a fact. As adults, we should be able to deal with the facts, right? So when they tell my homegirls about the guy's sexuality, my homegirls are like, yeah, our dudes told us that, oh boy, he this. I said, bitch, I told y'all hoes that already. Excuse my French, right? But again, you ain't taking from me. I'm supposed to be your sister, right? But some new guys that y'all just got involved with not too long ago, when they come to you and tell you the same information, now you accept it. But when your sister told you this information, and again, if I say it, bet money on it, right? Bet money on it. But they ain't want to hear it. And it's the same thing when it comes to some of the information that we talk about on this channel during these live streams. Like, it's like, you just a woman. Some of us still are in that Islamic state of mind, right? Some of us are still in that Hebrew Israelite state of mind, to where you can't move past a woman leading you nowhere. And I'm not trying to lead you nowhere. I'm just giving you the facts. And as I always state, if anything that I'm stating, if I'm misspoken, put it in the comments. Please correct me, because I can only respect you for that. I'm not dumb. I'm not going to hate somebody, right, for giving me wisdom or giving me knowledge. But if I know for a fact what you are saying is false, I'm going to do the same in return for you. And as a people, this is what we do to uplift one another. We're not supposed to be dragging one another, right? Again, intimate relationships in between men and women need to stay in between men and women, unless violence comes into the picture, right? When disrespect comes into the picture, that's when you know to shut the switch off, right? That way it doesn't turn violent. But when we are talking about people who are intoxicated and don't have full control over their actions, well, they don't have full control over their emotions, right? And they play it out with their actions, this one shit becomes a problem. Because if you are, as a man or as a woman, taking your emotions out on a man or a woman who has aunties, brothers, sisters, cousins, mothers, fathers, grandmothers, that'll bring it to your ass. When they come and they bring it to your ass, foot to ass, you understand? You are deserving of it. Especially if you are the type of person who refuses to be accountable for your actions. Which gets us back to Tory Lanez. Every piece of evidence that was presented, I ain't gonna even say it, most of the evidence that was presented during that trial that got him convicted came out of his own mouth, came by way of things that he either said, whether it was phone calls, right? Whether it was the text messages that he sent out apologizing and I can't take back what I did. What? Come on, y'all. Stop with the straw man arguments. You are not his fucking attorneys. When I'm reading these messages and I'm listening to these phone calls, don't try to fucking trick me. You cannot trick me. I don't want to hear shit about, well, he's apologizing for being sexually involved with both of them women. You over there out the fucking doors where you can go with that bullshit. Because why would he pick this particular evening to apologize for being intimate with both of them? Obviously, Megan didn't care, because Megan was already fucking with him, and she put her homegirl on him, right? So that's letting you know that he was the pass around. If we gonna keep it a buck, Right? He was the pass around. Now, I could tell some personal shit, but I'm not gonna do all that. But just know I speak from experience. He was the pass around, right? And knowing what we know, men do not mind being the pass around amongst attractive women, especially if you're talking about attractive women that are successful within their careers. See what I'm saying? Unmarried men, even, I'm not gonna say married men because I ain't gonna put my married brothers out there like that, but unmarried men, in my experience, from what I have witnessed, don't mind being passed around women, right? So again, he was the hoe in this situation. What really baffles me is the fact that, and again, what you need to do, and where that, take me down for a minute. Again, deal with the information that got his ass convicted, not with what Hip Hop News and all of the other people, even TMZ. Like, if I was Megan, I would be on my pull-up game right now. And I would be suing the shit out of a whole lot of people right now. But again, I understand this is and was a traumatic situation for her to end up getting shot by a guy that, you know, you was pumping on, or he was pumping on you, or however y'all was doing it. He was bouncing on top of him or whatnot, right? It would have to be very embarrassing for you to sit inside of a court of acts, because I ain't gonna call it a court of law, and admit that the man who you were intimate with shot at you, right? Whether bullets went directly into the girl's feet or foot or not, none of us was there. But show as shit, Dr. Number 3, his documents state that he removed bullet fragments from this girl's feet. Dr. Number 1 and Number 2 didn't share those same sentiments because Dr. Number 1 and Dr. Number 2 did not examine her. They simply asked her, you know, how'd you get these injuries in your feet? And she kept saying glass, right? The police officers didn't just question her on the street. Like when y'all look at the TMZ footage and the footage by way of Unite the People, paid for by way of Daystar Peterson, and she's sitting on the curb saying, look, I can't go to jail. You know what I'm saying? Am I gonna go to jail? She's acting, am I gonna go to jail? I can't go to jail. Like, you don't know who I am type of shit. You know what I'm saying? I got shit to do. Like, I'm a very important person off this piece. I got chores to do. I can't go to jail, right? So a completely different police officer walks up to her and says, are you the one who got shot? She like, hell, nope, I didn't get shot. She's lying to the fucking police, right? And in the words of NWA, fuck the police. When she's in the hospital, the police come to her while she's in the hospital bed again and say, hey, did you get shot? She's like, Dr. Number 1 come. And they're looking at her or whatnot. This is before the surgeon, who was Dr. Number 3, comes in. She like, I ain't get shot. Dr. Number 2 comes in. Ma'am, if you stepped on glass, why it ain't on the bottom of your feet? I don't know, and I don't know what you're talking about. So Dr. Number 2 and the police leave out of the hospital room, right? The surgeon, who is Dr. Number 3, comes in. He say, ma'am, these injuries are from bullet fragments. And in order for you not to goddamn catch the gangrene or whatnot in your feet, I have to remove these bullet fragments from your feet. She say it's a go. So Dr. Number 3 removes the bullet fragments from her feet, right? And a week later, she back on stage twerking. So everybody looking like, well, damn, if she got shot, why she up there twerking? The same way y'all was bringing the straw arguments to me on Facebook, making statements like, well, she awfully calm for somebody who got shot, right? Now, again, I'm somebody who caught some ricochets in my back at the age of 11. I wasn't erratic. I just kept running. And when we got to school, right, all the other students at Brooks Middle School, because you know word travel fast, people had already known that things had happened, and Toya caught some ricochets across her back. So they send me and my brother, and peace be upon him, my homeboy Archie and Dewan, right? My brother best friend back in the day. They send us all to the principal's office, right? And in the midst of them talking about calling the police, I'm like, ain't nothing. We want you to fill out this is the school before the police and my mother show up. We want you to fill out a statement saying ... I don't know what you're talking about. You know what I'm saying? So I lied too, right? And it wasn't out of fear of me as an 11-year-old being taken to jail, because I'm not the person who done the shooting. I understand that the people who were being shot at weren't to be played with. And they knew exactly who I was. They knew exactly who my brother was. And it wasn't out of fear, because your gangsters ain't no more gangster than mine, right? But it was being on code, right? To not be snitching. But again, everybody in the school is telling the principal and the assistant principal and my counselor that I got shot. Understand. I understand this situation a little bit, maybe more than others, right? In some situations, not as much as others, right? I just know that when one of us lied to the police to protect ourselves and others, I can understand that. I can understand not wanting to go to jail. So I'm lying to the police talking about I wasn't shooting, because I've been in that situation too, right? I don't know what you're talking about. You don't have no guns, right? No gun was found in my situation. No gunpowder was found on my hands in the situation. But I was the shooter. So when you talk this shit about Tory Lanez, his DNA wasn't on the gun or whatnot, what I did for you is I pulled up an attorney who has represented many people who did many shootings, because he's a criminal defense attorney, right? And he tells you in the video that in most cases, the shooter's DNA is not on the fucking gun. But y'all think y'all know so motherfucking much. How you know more than a criminal defense attorney who has represented hundreds of people? Who in confidentiality, is that a word? Right? He knows that they was the shooter. See, it's different when you got witnesses saying that you were the shooter. Because that was my situation. It wasn't a matter of gunpowder being found on my hands when they did the little test. It wasn't a matter of them finding a gun or bullet shells. It was a matter of the same three bitches, with two of the three bitches who came in the car themselves about to try to jump on me, which, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't buying, right? And their neighbor who said she seen me do ... It was the witness testimony. It was not gunpowder on my hands. It was not DNA found on the gun. It wasn't none of that shit. Because within the court of codes, I'm not going to call it a court of law again, but within the court, a witness testimony holds more weight than DNA or fingerprints or any of that shit. Did you not know that? Did I not just tell you? Maybe you don't have any criminal convictions, or nobody in your family has criminal convictions, and you haven't been sitting up in the courtroom 100,000 times the way I've been sitting up in the courtroom multiple times throughout my lifetime, not for being accused of crimes. Know that this is the only time that I ever snapped, crackled, and popped was this one time, and it was enough for me to know that, okay, I need to stay in the motherfucking house and stay away from drama kings and jealous motherfuckers and insecure motherfuckers and those who have less, so they like you less because you have more. This house and field Negro behavior that we, I would assume most of us grew up around it, unless you grew up in the city or attended a school that was 4% non-white, the way I did for a little bit portion of my life on and off, right? So maybe you don't know anything about these situations. Well, let me take you to school. This is what we doing. We going to school. And we only dealing with the facts. We don't want to deal with anything else. Looking at that girl foot, and that's only one of the feet. That's only one of the foot. That's only one of the feet. Does that look like she stepped on glass, right? You see the scabs around her ankles? You see what I'm saying? So she would have to have stepped on a bottle and glass popped everywhere, right? But that ain't the case. What I see with my eyes, where I see the scabs on her foot and her ankle, I'm not talking about the stitches where the surgeon went in and took out the bullet fragments. I'm talking about the scabs around her ankles or whatnot. I'm based on the fact that the third doctor that she talked to, again, who was the actual surgeon who was responsible for removing the bullet fragments out of both her feet. I think it's safe for me to assume that those are the more pieces of the ricochets of the bullets as Tory was aiming, you know what I'm saying, drunk in the direction of her feet and at the ground, and bullets ricochet, right? Bullets indeed ricochet. Bullets ricochet off fences. Bullets ricochet and explode off of buildings, right? And if you just so happen to be anywhere in that area, you can catch a ricochet the same way that I did, right? So again, you saying, well, she awfully calm to have just got shot, right? Remember, she about as drunk as Tory was. But she wasn't so drunk as to where she didn't kind of sober up a little bit to realize, oh, I ain't going to jail. This lifestyle that I live, I'm not trying to go to jail. Right? And she did not. They took her to the hospital. They took Quan, Tory, and Kelsey to the precinct. After, again, if you have ever been locked up in the precinct, you know they take your phone. If you got on shoes with shoestrings in them, they take the shoestrings out your shoes. They take all your jewelry. Sometimes they don't fucking give it back. You know what I'm saying? Like, that happened to me a couple times. For real. Right? So again, when Kelsey Harris makes her statements at the precinct concerning what happened, they backed up some of what she said by way of her phone records, which showed that she texts Megan Thee Stallion security. She sent her mother Facebook Messenger messages, and she called one of her people and kept them on the line and let them listen to her, Tory, well, mainly Tory, based off of what she said, is doing most of the talking and making the threats to her and Megan, and him and Megan is arguing back and forth. And what Kelsey Harris alleges is that what really set Tory off is the fact that Megan said that she was the better artist, and the only reason that Tory is even getting any fame is because of some song that he has with another guy. I don't even remember the guy's name. And she says, again, Kelsey alleges that this is when Tory spazzed the F out, right? And this is, what is this? StreamYard lost access to your Facebook account. Good, I don't care. Fuck Facebook. Fuck Facebook right now. You see what I'm saying? I'm like, Facebook don't even matter right now, because most of the people who rock with me on Facebook, I'm gonna say the people who rock with me, the people who are going against the grain of what's available and refuse to look at a case that's not classified, but are okay with listening to hearsay. You see what I'm saying? They not rockable, right? People who live in a glass house shouldn't be throwing rocks, right? So again, she alleges that this is what really set Tory off and made him spaz out. Once, Megan said she's the bigger artist. Like these, these very immature arguments, because based on record sales and your fan base and, not necessarily, who won Grammys and who didn't win Grammys and all of that. But I would say based on record sales, record spins, and your fan base, those can be some of the reasons, some of the things that we can utilize to say who is the biggest artist and who is not. I don't know who has the bigger fan base. I don't know who sold the most records, because I'm not a fan like that. Literally, yeah, I listen to some of Megan's shit. I like Savage. You know what I'm saying? I like the beats that she had done by Hell of a made this beat. Hell of a, that's Detroit shit. Yes. But as far as Tory Lanez, like, I cannot name none of this cat's songs. And it don't mean that he's not a dope artist. It just means that I'm not familiar. And just because I'm not familiar with the artist doesn't mean that they're guilty of doing anything, right? But what makes him guilty is, number one, you are in a courtroom, right? You got a few million, right? There are, peace be upon him, Johnny Cochran is no longer available, but there are attorneys who supersede, even though we would not like to believe that there's no attorney better than Johnny Cochran. I beg to differ. At this current, maybe during the time when, Johnny Cochran was out here, but you're talking 30 years ago. And I come from a place as to where we are supposed to exceed, you know what I'm saying, and surpass our teachers. We're not supposed to just stay up under nobody motherfucking foot, right? That makes no sense. It makes no sense, right? It means that you had a terrible teacher. If this teacher wants to keep you underneath their thumb, or this professor wants to keep you underneath their thumb, or this scholar wants to keep you underneath their thumb, right? Like he like the jealous God, Jehovah and shit. You just stay up under my thumb. Don't you dare go and study the Kabbalah. You know what I'm saying? Don't you dare go and study the Talmud, right? Don't go look at none of that shit. Don't go look at the Vedas. Don't deal with the Hindu or the Hindi, right? I want you to stay up under my thumb. And we all know I don't rock with that type of stuff. Like, again, when you trapping yourself in that one box, you're going to stay trapped inside that one chamber of knowledge by yourself. I'm not doing that to myself. I'm too advanced to, you know what I'm saying, trap myself in one chamber of knowledge and think that I know everything and every goddamn thing I say is correct. No. How? When you all you know is this. When I know this, that, and this, and a whole bunch of other shit. But you think you got the right to tell me, oh, no, that ain't what it is. Or you wrong about this and that. When again, you only got 1 degree of knowledge. And I'm on chapter 19 and shit. And you in the first chapter and you're comfortable there. You're still in the 3rd grade and you're very comfortable in the 3rd grade. So that's where you want to stay at for the rest of your life. Then stay your ass there. But again, at that point, you don't have the right to come trying to tell nobody else shit. Especially when you're trying to tell me things that I'm already familiar with and that I was familiar with before you was familiar with it. Maybe decades before you was familiar with it. But again, I'm just a woman. Oh, she just a woman. You supposed to stay in your place. You can't lead. Like, okay. All right, then we gonna let you make the pizza. When you don't even know how to make the pizza. Right? You know I know how to make the pizza. And you don't know how to make the pizza. But I'm fucking with your manhood if I make the pizza. Or you don't know how to drive the 5.0 Mustang with the 5 gears in the piece. And I know how to drive it. But because you a man, you got to be the one that's driving. So you going to burn out the clutch and shit. Because you can't be seen in the car with a woman and a woman driving. Just dumb shit. Just dumb. We going nowhere with that type of attitude, right? Again, if I'm the one that don't know how to, drive the 5-speed Ferrari or the Lamborghini, then I'm gonna be in the passenger seat, happily sitting in the passenger seat. Period. In any situation where I'm not the one with the superior knowledge, I will gladly sit in the passenger seat. But I'll be damned if I let somebody drive me into hell based off of their theological ideology being monotheistic and misogynistic and patriarchal in nature, right? When I look around and throughout nature, I see things that are male and female. I don't just see things that are male, because if that was the case, none of us would exist. And I don't see things that are just female or feminine, right? Because if that was the case, again, a lot of y'all wouldn't exist. It just is what it is. But when people refuse again to deal with reality and what's factual in order to hug somebody nuts, they gonna have us all fucked in the game. And I'm not about to be fucked in the game with nobody. You can be messed up in the game by yourself, right? Or you can drag the dummies and the sheeple who are willing to follow you into the pits of hell. Y'all can go into the pits of hell. I'll remain the black sheep. See, y'all don't have a problem with the word black when we start saying words like black sheep. I'll just be the black sheep and all white. Watching y'all go in the wrong direction. I'm trying to tell you you're going in the wrong direction, but I cannot force you to assimilate into the God body you're supposed to be. Right? Let me take this girl foot down. Like the realest of the real talk, I am delegated to do what I do, right? But I'm not here to force nobody into anything, right? We supposed to be wise and civilized, as they would say, enough to know the difference in between right and wrong, right? And when we are unsure about things, we need to do detail. We need to vet information. Can I just say it that way? And I don't see people vetting information. I see people regurgitating what's popular, right? I see people trauma bonding the same way y'all trauma bond. I ain't gonna say y'all. When I say y'all and you know I'm not talking about you, don't act like I'm talking about you, right? But the same way many people bonded with the orange guy, Donald Trump, right? Some people bonded with him based off of the fact that he was being charged with a bunch of felonies. Some people bonded with him based on the fact that, you know, there were attempts to take his life, right? He caught that ricochet, or that bullet grazed his ear, if you will. I didn't, for me, it wasn't a trauma bond. And I've been in the same situation, but I didn't trauma bond with that shit. Because I know that nigga ain't on my team. The same way, again, had it been Kamala Harris sitting in that Oval Office, I would be dragging her East-West Indian ass the same way that I dragged that nigga ass. Because ain't none of these people on your team. The only actions of any individual who sits in that Oval Office, who I would even view as caring about us, again, would have to balance the books by way of cutting the checks. Say it with me. Balance the books by way of cutting the checks to the people who they owe. They owe us big time restitution, not just by way of slavery and the redlining and the red summers, but by way of rent. Rent, right? The fact that there was some of our ancestors, and I would, based off of what I've been able to pull up on my own throughout the decades, it wasn't a large portion of our ancestors who allowed them to come over here and do commerce and trade on this land, i.e. set up their colonies on this land in order to do business, not to live here and permanently stay here and become the wealthiest criminal enterprise or country or nation state, if you will, on his mother plane and stay their asses here when they very well know what their lineage is or their nationality is. Trump knows that he's German, right? You may call him white or whatever, but he knows that he's German, right? The same way those who are Spanish, and I'm not talking about the people close in complexion to us who habla Espanol. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the pale people who people hail from Spain. I'm not even talking about the Moors, right? I'm not even talking about the pale people who tied within the vine and became heirs to the throne, right? I'm not talking about Johannes Morris out of Italy. I'm not talking about none of that shit. You know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the pure, pale-faced peoples who are here, who ancestors are of French, Irish, Scottish, Dutch, German, and so on and so forth lineage. These people know their lineage, right? Meanwhile, we over here with this black, this African American, even the Indian, because this ain't India, right? This is not India. I understand, your points of contention, if you will, but this ain't India. This is not Hindustan, right? It's not. Now, we going to do the etymology of the word and break it down. No, we're not going to do none of that. We'll wait till brother Abdullah Mosey El Bay come through and let him break it down. We'll let the professionals handle that so it can be thoroughly done. And I'll stay in my lane, right? Things that I'm thorough on is what I tend to keep beating. So for me, it's not a dead horse. If y'all riding the fucking horse, the horse is very well living. So I'm going to keep beating the shit out of it. Speaking of, let's do a commercial break right quick. That's what we're going to do. We're going to hit a commercial break and come back. And again, if you have not subscribed or downloaded the Black Tube app, make sure you do that. And like I just told you, if you go and download the app, which channel is it on? The Humber Society's channel?
Yes, search.
Okay, so he says just search. If you want to see centers, go to the Black Tube, and he said search. So we just gonna have to go and search. I mean, it's just like YouTube, a little bit. I don't say it's just like YouTube, but you search the same way you would search on YouTube. Where is that ain't it? Okay, there go the media. Yeah, let's hit this commercial right quick, y'all.
YouTube, you fools try to limit me, muting and deleting channels, thinking that's the end of me. Y'all. YouTube, you fools try to limit me, muting and deleting channels, thinking that's the end of me. Y'all are not on my level, smaller than a centipede. This is my purpose, TBT is a ministry. I do not tire, my God gives me energy. Chose by Messiah, you believe, come get with me. Married to a black queen, we got the illest chemistry. Founded the Black Tube, and now we making history. Black Tube, 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 what? TBT, 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 what? TBT, 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 what? TheBlackTube.com. I'm a giant killer, son of an omniscient God who's realer. If this be the thriller in Manila, I'm Ali in his prime. It's showtime, go time, about to take what's mine. We are not with your agenda. We showing real life.
All right. Like I said, definitely subscribe. Download the app, and let's start being about us. All right, us. Me even continuously talking about what we talking about right now is, I don't want to say it's not beneficial, but for the most part, it's not. See, I'm willing to be accountable, and I strive to be honest, right? I really do. It really just kills me that somebody who I meet you on social media, right? And you're talking about, you're able to do trust for people, and, you have a lane where you can create passports and all of this and that. So I hit you up and I'm like, I would love to have you, come on our platform and, do an interview for us. And, we don't have a problem with compensating our guests and whatnot. And you say to me, well, don't worry about the compensation. Like, I got a bunch of books that are available to be purchased, and just buy a book. I'm like, bet that up. and I immediately go on Amazon and buy one of your books right then and there. So when I say that, if the individual who I'm talking about, and I'm paraphrasing with, the things that this individual says that they can do, the trust and blah 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 or whatnot. I'm paraphrasing on that, but I'm speaking actual facts concerning, hey, just buy the book. And I'm a woman of my word. I go immediately to Amazon and I purchase your book, Johnny on the spot, right? But we never, you don't contact my contact in order to make sure that you do the interview or whatnot. And I'm not sweating you about it. I don't really give a fuck, right? I'm just like that. I'm not mad that I bought your book and that you didn't come on the show. Like, it is what it is. You just didn't you didn't talk to Amir about it. Y'all didn't conversate like I asked you to conversate with him or whatnot, so we can figure out, what's a good time, what your schedule is like, so we can book you or whatnot. It's fine, right? But since that time has came and went, and this in Tory Lanez that got stabbed 14, 15 times or whatnot, you know what I'm saying? You on my post capping for Tory. And I'm cut like this. Like, I'm not just gonna pull nothing out my ass and say, well, nah, he did do it, because I said he fucking did it. No. I don't operate like that. What I'm doing is I'm dealing with the transcripts. I'm dealing with the interview that Kelsey Harris did with the district attorneys. I'm dealing with the text messages. I'm dealing with the phone calls. That's what I'm dealing with, right? I'm also even dealing with the fact that Megan said it wasn't a bullet wound, that it was glass. Like, I'm dealing with all elements of the case, right? But you seem to keep pulling towards the opposite direction, regardless to what I'm presenting to you, which is the very same evidence that got the man convicted. You see what I'm saying? So it is like, you bringing Islam into things that we don't need Islam in to fucking figure out. And that's on you. But again, I don't let shit slide. I'm not going to let you, utilize your ideology in order to influence me into any fucking thing. You see what I'm saying? Been there, done that. Whether we talking about Orthodox Islam, right? Sunni Islam, Nation of Islam. You see what I'm saying? Like, this is nothing that is new to someone of my stature. Let's just say it like that. Maybe people on the outside didn't know it was a such thing as being an Orthodox Muslim, right? Versus being one who deals with Sunni Islamism. It's not the same thing. It's two different things. The same way, if you are a Muslim out of the Nation of Islam, it's not the same thing. The same way, if you are a Muslim within the Moorish Science Temple of America, it's not the same thing. These are all different fashions. They have their own, all the way from their attire, you see what I'm saying, to their belief systems. It's not the same. If you go to a mosque where there are Sunni Muslims, you're not going to hear them make as many references to the King James Version of the Bible as a Minister Farrakhan would do. I'm telling you this from experience. I'm not saying that they don't mention anything, within the Bible, right? But I'm just telling you, for any imam that would mention things from inside of the King James Version of the Bible, they would not do it as much as a Minister Louis Farrakhan. How y'all? That's a fact. How y'all say that shit? Yes, that is a fact. It's not because I said it. It's a fact because it's a fact. Again, stop it with the straw man arguments. They only make you look stupid and sound stupid. They have no reflection of me and who I am, right? Stop with the assumptions. If you have a question, this is a safe zone. You can ask the question. But to make assumptions and allegations about things that you can become knowledgeable of, again, those choices that you're making only makes you look bad. It don't make me look bad. Know that. Now they can make you look bad. You see what I'm saying? But shit don't make me look bad. When you know better, you do better. How about that? Man, this is crazy. Like, I really wanted to go back into these interviews or whatnot, but I ain't about to do that, because at this point, again, it's not beating a dead horse. What it is people are comfortable believing what they want to believe. There's no way in the fuck that I would rather trust World Star Hip Hop if I had the actual access to the transcripts from this particular case that we're talking about. So for somebody to rather listen to Whack 100 and the girl who gave a lot of head throughout the hip hop industry, Amber Rose, and the woman who promotes QAnon lies, the Congresswoman, you'd rather listen to those individuals over you actually having access to transcripts, to district attorney interviews with witnesses, right? To the actual text messages, to the actual recorded jail phone calls and things of that nature. It just let me know you like being stuck on stupid, and you are comfortable with letting things fly out your mouth that you know that you're not going to have to be accountable for. And you don't like the fact that I'm holding you accountable for the things that you say and do, right? Or at least I'm attempting to. And that I recognize when someone who is guilty as hell, that does not want to be accountable for their actions, is willing to spend millions of dollars hoping and praying that it benefits them sooner than later. I can sit back and laugh, but I can never not care. And it's not because I care about one woman more than another woman, or a woman more than a man. That's not the point. The point is that this type of shit happens every day. And I am more than tired of it. The same way I'm tired of people regurgitating lies and them influencing others to do the same. And it is making rifts within people's actual relationships. It's affecting people in their relationships more than it is affecting some of the actual victims and the actual predators. I'm just saying, you know who else don't let anything slide? Karma. Karma as a universal law is not letting this shit slide. I don't see Megan or Kelsey getting stabbed up 14 times. Right? I could, relate to the fact that it's very difficult to deal with traumatic situations without some type of counseling, some type of solace. You know what I'm saying? Some type of peace in your life. And right now, people not allowing any peace, right? They don't want peace. They want someone who is guilty to be free. And I'm saying his lawyers did the best that they can do based on the fact that he was facing 23 years and he only ends up with 10, right? Someone who was willing to be accountable for the fuck shit that they did would say, okay, all right, I got 10. I know it's likely that I can be paroled in 5 or less than 5 years. I'm going to deal with it that way. I'm not going to waste any more money, time, or energy making someone else suffer who has already suffered. But when you a selfish motherfucker, you don't care about nobody else. Right? You don't care about the effects of your actions. All you care about is your fucking self. Right? And again, karma along with the ancestors, has a way of dealing with that, right? If you didn't know, maybe you do all good. You've never done no wrong in your lifetime. I'm not one of them individuals. I done did some shit within my lifetime that I can't take back. The same way Tory was like, I know she'll never speak to me again, and I can't take back what I did. I can't take back what the fuck I did anyway. But what I can do is be accountable for my actions and learn from my mistakes. And not run around lying on people. That's one thing I ain't never had to do, is run around lying on people, right? But I've been faced with the adversity, is that the word, of people lying on me in my lifetime. I've dealt with that, right? And to have to correct people who are using your name in a negative fashion and try to rub your name in the dirt as a individual who doesn't have celebrity status, it may not be as difficult. But when you have celebrity status, that shit is damn near impossible. Because again, the higher that, the more zeros you got in your account, especially when you melanated, the more hate that you can possibly you'll receive. Especially from your own people. Based off house and field nigga behavior. Or house and field Negro behavior. Because as I've said multiple times throughout the past 2 decades, I don't rock with house or field Negroes. They are both in the way. Neither of them were of a warrior status. And peace be upon Detroit Red, aka Malcolm X, aka L, Malik L, Hodge, Shabazz, L, Al, Day, Bay, Ali. But this is 2025. And if I didn't learn from him enough to surpass, because I got all the knowledge that he brought, and then some, right? That's how we rock over here. I don't expect for you to just have the knowledge that I'm giving you. You take the knowledge that I'm sharing and you go get some more knowledge. That way you got 2 times the amount of knowledge that I left here with. And as a people, that's how we suppose. You see, we skipped the rites of passage, right? Had we went through our rites of passage, many of us, these would be things that we would already consider before letting certain things come out of our mouths. Meaning we would be considerate of others instead of being selfish son of a guns. Let me just say it like that. That ain't even me censoring myself. That's me bettering myself. We got to strive to be better. Not to mimic what already exists if it's not something that's spiritually beneficial, right? That is good or positive for our mental health instead of something that's negative and will further traumatize us as a nation of people. So again, I didn't play none of the evidence. The only evidence that could possibly be new evidence, which it can't even be new evidence because it's hearsay. If I say 5 years after somebody then went to prison, I feel so bad because I have some information that can possibly aid them after the motherfucker has already been denied an appeal on their case. I say, well, I overheard my client say to her husband that she shot Megan. So I'm gonna replay this for y'all, right? Imagine you are doing security for a particular celebrity, right? Low level, high level, in between. You're doing security for them. And you walk into a conversation and you hear the words, I shot Megan, right? You don't know the words that were spoken before you heard the words, I shot Megan. The words before you entered the room could have been, why are motherfuckers saying that I shot Megan 3 times? See, you didn't hear the entire conversation, if you heard any conversation at all. And being that You say, I feel guilty. When did you hear this conversation? Because you damn sure wasn't present during the event, right? You wasn't present when it went down. So what year, date, and time did you hear that portion of a conversation? That it's just like when somebody uses sound bites, right? Somebody can use a sound bite from this presentation tonight, and they can just take a portion of what I said, and you don't hear what I said prior to that sound bite that they're using, and it may make you think that I think that Kelsey shot Megan, when that is something that I don't believe at all, based off of the interview that Kelsey Harris did with the district attorneys, right? Based off of the information that Kelsey Harris gave to the Los Angeles County Police Department during the night of the shooting. Based off of that, and based off of the phone call that Tory made to Kelsey Harris that very same evening, to me is clear, cut and dry evidence that she did not shoot Megan. The same way that, again, if you have not listened to the interview that Kelsey Harris did with the district attorneys prior to the trial, then you don't understand why she asked for immunity and why she pled the fifth. But again, if you research the fucking case and listen to the interview that she did with the district attorneys prior to the trial, then you are fully aware as to why she asked for immunity. It had nothing to do with her shooting Meg. It has a little bit to do with the accusations that were floating around stating that she shot Megan. It has a small percentage to do with that. The larger percentage, the majority, the real reason why she asked for immunity is the fact that during those 2 years before the case went to trial, she received no protection, no legal protection provided by way of Roc Nation or Megan Thee Stallion. They dropped that girl like a fucking hot potato, right? Roc Nation dropped her like a hot potato based off of Megan telling them, I'm not fucking with her, I don't trust her, right? And then Megan felt that way based off the fact that Kelsey backdoored. She feels like Kelsey backdoored her by having conversations with Tory after the fact, not overstanding the fact that the reason she had these conversations with Tory Lanez was because she was trying to get her belongings from Tory Lanez that was left inside of his Escalade, when in all reality she should have just let that shit go, instead of letting Tory call her like, yo, I'm sorry, I got your stuff, I'm gonna pull up on you, want me to bring your stuff, want me to bring your Louis bag and your stuff with your stuff in it? And she was like, yeah. So you jump in the car with him and let him give you this sob story and offer you bribe money, allegedly, right? And then when you talk to Megan again, you tell Megan, like, yep, I talked to him, yep, he fell through and burned my stuff. And Megan like, bitch, fuck you, click. And cut her off right then and there. When before Megan cut her off, Megan got her a place and paid her rent for an entire year. And when she asked Megan, was she gonna get her some legal representation, because Tory is spinning this narrative that she's possibly the one who shot Megan, or either Megan didn't get shot at all, right? That's all Kelsey wanted from Megan and Roc Nation, was some legal representation to get out here and stop these narratives from being thrown around with her name in it. On top of that, she was receiving threats. So, according to her, she was in fear for her life. And Megan just dropped her like a fucking hot potato. So from that point on, it was her and Megan against one another. So Tory get to sit back and hold his nuts and laugh at these two females who've known each other since college. Since their freshman college year or some shit like that. And again, his legal representation as well as his PR team will continue to spin these narratives. Because guess what? He's the person that's locked up with 10 years. Not Megan, not Kelsey, right? Not the prosecutor. And when I keep saying district attorney, I mean prosecuting attorneys and all of that as well, who interviewed Kelsey Harris again prior to Tory Lanez trial. It's real simple. Either you are going to deal with the official information that got him convicted, or you are going to deal with the bloggers and the people who making YouTube videos and Facebook and Instagram videos who are getting paid. They are receiving checks from saying Megan's name, right? They are receiving checks from riding Tory dick. And then you have the minions who, for the most part, a lot of y'all just hate women. Let's just say what the fuck it is. You really aren't fond of women, right? Some of y'all got very small penises. Some of y'all, you know what I'm saying, aren't very handsome in the face. Some of you niggas is fat as fuck, because I don't look at some of your pictures, right? I'm just going to say what it is. As much as you look at Megan as being some trick, tramp, twerking little hoe that just happened to be able to rap, right, and have a steady fan base, she is still a woman who you can never pull in your fucking dreams. And that's not me riding her coattail, right? That's not me riding her coat. That's me stating what the fuck it is. Based off of the arguments that many of you are presenting, and I'm speaking to the men, you lead me to believe that you don't like women so much. Because if I had testicles, it would be very, it wouldn't be anything that I feel like I should support when there is a man, whether I believe it or not, the fact that he could have possibly shot a woman, I'm not, that, you know what I'm saying? That wouldn't resonate with me at all had I had testicles, but I do not. Again, let's topple that with the fact that it is very difficult for a woman who comes from the background that I come from to respect a man riding another man's dick who could have possibly shot a woman, and who was very well convicted based off of evidence that they would have never had he kept his fucking mouth shut, not made those phone calls, and not sent those text messages. Because that, on top of the fact that there were bullet fragments removed from Megan Thee Stallion's feet, is what got his bitch ass convicted. And those are the same reasons that his appeal was denied. It has nothing to do with a fucking conspiracy spent off by Jay-Z or Roc Nation. Jay-Z and Roc Nation could give a fuck about Tory Lanez. Tory Lanez was the one who made sure that he was at Roc Nation events trying to get in with Roc Nation by way of Megan Thee Stallion. But again, if you haven't examined the transcripts of the fucking case, your dumb ass wouldn't know that. Kelsey Harris met Tory Lanez at a Roc Nation event. What the fuck was Tory Lanez doing at a Roc Nation event if he had no desire to be a part of Roc Nation? And he's this independent artist who is above everybody else, barring none, because he made all his money independently, which also is a fucking lie. Tory Lanez was discovered by Sean Kingston. A reggae artist discovered Tory Lanez, and his name is Sean Kingston. Sean Kingston, put me on the camera. Let me get on the camera now, because this is about to be it. Where we at? Where I'm at? Okay. Again, Sean Kingston discovered Tory Lanez. Sean Kingston, took Tory Lanez to Interscope in order to secure Tory Lanez a deal, right? And with that being said, Sean Kingston was making money off of Tory Lanez. So he already had one individual in his pocket. I'm sure it wasn't very attractive for him to also have other entities in his pocket. So he made a wise decision, a very wise decision, to go independent, right? That was a wise decision. To create the NFTs or whatever y'all call that shit when you're selling your own shit and so on and so forth. And you can charge various amounts for these things. Very wise decision. He made a very stupid decision when he picked up that gun and shot at that girl. Number one. He made an even dumber decision when he decided to pick up that jail phone and call Kelsey Harris. He made an even dumber decision when he decided to send them text messages to Megan Thee Stallion apologizing to her, right? These are all decisions that he made and that he is going to be held accountable for, regardless to whether he likes it or not. He can spend all the money in the world. He better be trying to get that money to the orange guy so that the orange guy can threaten Gavin Newsom or pump Gavin Newsom into giving Tory Lanez a pardon, because Trump cannot do it. Because Tory Lanez is not serving federal time. Tory Lanez is serving state time, with the possibility of being banned from the United States of America for a substantial amount of time. See, he gonna have to live in gangster ass Canada, possibly, where he say he from, my nigga, I'm from Canada. I'm a real gangster. Like, you know how motherfuckers from other countries try to make it like we ain't about that life, right? Or try to make it seem like we don't have a culture, but they mimic our culture all over the world. He one of them motherfuckers, which is why the name of the broadcast is Tory/Drake versus Megan/Kendrick Lamar, or Megan/Kendrick. And again, I'm team Megan and Kendrick. You can be team Tory and Drake. I don't care. What I do care about is people further traumatizing not just the girl who got shot, but other women and girls who have been in similar predicaments. Number one. Number two, people telling lies just bothers me, right? It just bothers me. A lot of attorneys, the sight of them bothers me because they are paid liars, right? A lying ass congresswoman stepping forth, strategizing and saying, hey, the couple few 100,000 people to sign that petition, if I rally for Tory, I'll get their support as well. That bothers me. The fact that somebody who's sitting in a government seat would side with an organization known as QAnon, that bothers me. Someone who is revered within the conscious community, who spews QAnon satire, that bothers me. So all of that and many other things is the reason that I'm even talking about this shit. Had any of the things that I just mentioned not been major factors in why people are believing the bullshit, I wouldn't have nothing to say about this. Nothing. But again, I've been in court on one side of the situation as the shooter, right? I've been the person who caught the ricochets. So looking at the evidence overall, right? Again, into a case that is not classified. Anything that I was able to access, you, and all of y'all can access the same information, rather than you letting yourself be influenced by bloggers. And you notice you haven't seen NBC and CNN or none of them make statements about any new evidence that can possibly grant Tory Lanez a pardon. They not stupid. They not trying to get sued. And TMZ has been very careful as to how they air out this information. Which again, this is all information that was available 5 years ago. So minus the James Bradley statement, right? So again, if this is all information that was available 5 years ago, what would make it relevant now if it wasn't relevant 3 years ago during Tory Lanez's trial? Again, let's be logical, right? Let's use common sense and logic and stop nut hugging. You nut hugging somebody who has disrespected our culture multiple times and who decided after he stabbed Drake in the back some years ago that he gonna come and he gonna hug Drake nuts so he can get some of that Kendrick Lamar versus Drake juice. You see what I'm saying? He has a record of this type of behavior. And these are people who you should not be supporting or promoting. But on the other hand, you need to be rocking with me all day, every day, right? And again, when I can't think of a word, right? And when I'm struggling and stuttering, help me out. I'm not perfect. I don't claim to be perfect. Not one of them people. I do not claim to be perfect. I do not claim to know everything. And when I'm intrigued by something or I wish to be enlightened more, then I'm going to ask questions. And after I ask questions, I'm going to cross-reference that information. I'm not taking one person's word over the other because I'm a scholar. A scholar examines both sides of the coin, right? A scholar doesn't let their biases dictate what the facts are. You can learn a lot from me, just like you can learn a lot from a dummy. What you can learn from a dummy is what not to do. What you can learn from me is how to properly research a criminal case, right? Yeah, a felony, a felonious criminal case. You can learn a lot from me in that, and then it go both ways. I'm hoping to be able to learn even more from my elders and from my peers. But I refuse to cheerlead or support satire information, false narratives, people who move the goalposts, and people who use straw man arguments, right? I can learn nothing from that. That type of activity holds us back. It stagnates our movements. And y'all know how I feel about that. Right? Very well know how I feel about that. I've let it be known. I've named names. People who I was once cool with, I'm not cool with no more. Because I very well know that you know better. But it's more important to you that you grow your following based off of that fake ass information that you keep regurgitating out your lips. Me over here, I don't give no fucks. I don't. Sorry. Not when I'm not going to jeopardize my credibility by promoting lies or false information or neo-Nazi skinhead satire. I'm not doing that. And when I catch any of my peers and contemporaries and elders doing that shit, I'm getting at you. I don't care. I don't care that you have more followers than me. I don't give a fuck. That don't mean that what you saying is right and exact. And I wouldn't even dare check you if you was correct in your stance. But the fact that I know that you are wrong, I'm gonna correct you. That's what I'm delegated to do. Feel how you feel. You can be Shaka Khan and I feel for you all day. I don't care. When it comes to the truth, my feelings is irrelevant. Even though I admit to being an emotional being, right? But when it comes to the facts, your feelings are irrelevant. Which artist is the best artist is irrelevant. Again, you drunk and you shooting a gun. Them bullets could have possibly went somewhere else into that woman's body and killed her. So this trauma bonding, y'all, don't do it. Don't trauma bond with people. If you're gonna create a solid bond with somebody, don't let it be based off trauma, please. We've witnessed how that doesn't go so well, right? Based off of the orange guy. And again, y'all trauma bonding with him again because he commutes Larry Hoover's federal sentences, right? Excuse me. But again, as the CEO of the corporation known as the United States of America, you know what I'm saying? He doesn't have the authority to pardon him, Larry Hoover, on a state level, right? And again, the same way that Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna is strategizing by using Tory Lanez is the same way that Donald Trump is strategizing, by commuting Larry Hoover's federal term, right? And again, you have various celebrities like Kanye West, like Drake. I can't name any others right now off the top of my head who already have been shaking hands with Trump, right? And having secret meetings with Trump. And I'm sure Larry Hoover was a part of that conversation, which is all good and well. But for me, the bigger conversation should have been reparation, restitution, compensation for melanated people over him commuting Larry Hoover's sentence. Now you might feel like it's more important for Larry Hoover to be free than it is for us to be compensated, right? For what was being done to us right now, what was done to some of our ancestors, right? Again, with the red summers, the redlining, the kidnapping that continues to take place and holding us for ransom that continues to take place and has gone on for centuries. The vagrancy laws, the Christian black codes, the municipalities and their policies, and they patrol highwaymen or whatnot. All of this shit, you know what I'm saying, was going on a couple centuries ago. Only difference in between a couple centuries ago and today is the fact that on an annual basis, they introduce another 100,000 of what y'all call acts, statute, codes, whatever the fuck you want to call it. So now they have millions. They don't just have the vagrancy laws, right? They don't just have the Christian black codes. They don't just have the Jim Crow. Now they have millions of these so-called policies or laws, if you will, to utilize in order to kidnap, rob, warehouse us, hold us for ransom. They're using the same language. This particular violation can get you 5 years in jail and or $50,000 fine. This is the same language that they have been using for a couple of centuries because it's the same system, right? And these are their heirs and descendants who are doing this shit to us, who inherited all of our shit. So by all right, they should be balancing the books and cutting the checks. Other than that, you have no business supporting any politician, whether they sitting in the Oval Office or sitting in local office or state office, legislative, judicial, or executive branches. These are not your motherfucking friends. They is not on your fucking team because they have not balanced the books and cut the checks, and they haven't took their ass back home yet. And with that, I'm going to say peace, y'all. Have a good one.